Welcome back. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have been, well, right across the headlines globally following their 8-day tour through the Caribbean, which was plagued by protests, a few missteps and some pretty ordinary photo opportunities. The trip has even led to some soul-searching for the future king, with comments that he doesn't seem to mind if he's no longer head of the Commonwealth when he ascends the throne in the future. For his analysis, I want to bring in the royal editor at the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers, who joins me now from London. Russell, you've just got back from this tour, so I'm literally speaking to the man who saw it unfold. How consequential has been this fallout from the trip, and how's it been covered at home?
Good evening, Peter. Well, I think there's a huge swing of the pendulum of how royal tours will be considered in the future, because there is a real big inquiry happening at the moment in Kensington Palace, because there was a series of PR disasters, mishaps, photo opportunities that didn't really go too well, accusations that Prince William's speeches, although they were quite well received in country, whether they went far enough in turning against the issue of slavery, and I think there'll be an awful lot of things to dissect over the coming weeks, and certainly. I mean, you see the papers and the coverage just as we've returned from the Bahamas. That that inquiry has already begun at the palace.
And the interesting thing is, I mean, I've done prime ministers' trips of this sort of scale. A lot of them are not necessarily your control once you're in someone else's country. You know, the cyclone fencing used there, for example, and the people on the other side of the fence. The royals may not have known about that terrible look, but it could have been decided for security reasons by the home country. But you add that in, you add, complaints about their staff not perhaps being across the program, and just this look of fashion from her and pretty bland speeches from him. That look of a royal tour, that's probably got to be modernised, doesn't it?
Well, it has to be, and I think when you look at William and Kate, they build themselves as the big modernisers of the royal family, and I think that they were caught wanting in terms of how a royal tour would look in this day and age. We haven't had one since 2019, certainly from them, because of the pandemic. We've had the Black Lives Matter movement in that time. There is an awful lot of organisations really doing some major soul searching about how they are perceived on the world stage, and it just seems that the royal household hadn't really had that moment of reflection. You've got to look at the issues. I mean, whether their team didn't know that these optics, these photo opportunities of them going up to touch the outstretched hands of children in Trenchtown behind a metal fence, or rolling around in an open-top Land Rover. Like you just said, that could be the decision in country, and that was certainly the Jamaicans who wanted them to do that. However, I understand William had on several occasions questioned the actual issue at hand and whether that would have colonial undertones, and it seems as though he was right. And I don't think that they should have done that because of the optics on the day, and unfortunately that was what people were talking about. And there were some big triumphs in the tour. They were very well received wherever they went, but unfortunately for them, there's going to have to be a lot of dissecting about what went wrong.
I think, if you look at Harry and Meghan, the Cambridges are the trump card. They're the trump card certainly in Britain. I think they've played things very, very well. It's just that they were following sort of the 1950s playbook on these overseas tours into the Caribbean. I think that's what's got to change. More of what you see in Britain on the world stage. I've got to ask you while we've got you, the Queen's health. Can we get an update?
Well, certainly that we're expecting that the Queen will try her best to get to this memorial service, which is tomorrow at Westminster Abbey for the Duke of Edinburgh. A Thanksgiving service because of his funeral was so scaled down. I think we should forget she's 95 going on 96. She's still incredibly busy, pin sharp of mind, I'm told, but definitely suffering from mobility issues of late. But she's just got to be a bit careful, because resting under doctor's orders is definitely the order of the day. And she'll do her best to get to these events. But some days she has good days and some days not so good days, I think.
I think she's allowed to have that at 95, about to turn 96. Russell Myers, thank you as always. Thank you for your time.